Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for joining the November 18th Octant community meeting. Today we've got some fun stuff. So let me just get the notes shared and we will get started. Sorry for the late start. We had a little bit of technical difficulty. Well, I had some technical difficulty with the stream getting started. So got it sorted out now. Meeting notes. Where are they? Share. There we go. Zoom in a little, and that looks big enough. People can see that okay? Excellent. All right, so let's see. First things, 016.2. We released it. I put in. I filled this out on. I filled this out on Monday, and put in there. It was released, and then today I went and added the maybe. But I think it is released. Well, is it published?
Last time I checked, no, but it's just a button hit away.
Yeah, so I think that's where I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it after the community meeting's over. But yeah, we have a draft published. It is here. It's ready to go. We will be publishing this release right after the meeting, and it contains some really great fixes, a host of just like usability things, and so fixes for the forum groups for plugin authors. What else? There's some things that we've been talking about it for a while. So it fixes that npm registry issue that made its way into master at some point with the artifactory builds. So this will be a good one. This will fix some homebrew recipes and installations that are building from source, as well as get some people making progress towards on plugins and things like that. So that's coming. Thank you, Sam and Milan, for kind of dealing with all of the cherry picking of open issues and getting things sorted out for the release and pulling the change log together and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. So yeah, that's it there. Anything I missed on that one? No. Cool. I thought Pia was here. I swear I saw Pia earlier, and then she left. Is she not here?
I think she's still here.
I'm here.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Okay. So I just wanted to introduce you. So I think this is is this your first community meeting or your second one? I don't remember.
This is the first.
Great. Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is the first one. And so everyone, Pia is the new product manager for Octant. The program that Octant, open source Octant, is a part of within VMware has been kind of restructured a little bit, and so now we got access to eShow a while back, which has been super great, and now we also have access to a product manager, which is pretty amazing. So Pia will be helping with like issue management and prioritization, as well as doing some community management stuff, kind of helping the rest of the team out, so we don't have to do that all by ourselves. And so Pia, go ahead and say hi and add anything you'd like to add that I forgot.
Sure. Yes, I'm excited to be working with the team. Before this, I was initially at Pivotal and I came in through the acquisition. So excited to continue supporting the open source community now at VMware.
Awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So you'll be seeing her around. So yeah, and I believe she'll probably start popping up in GitHub issues and the Slack channel. So if you have questions and around, well, really anything, you can ask her as well. She'll be there. So All right, on to the next thing. So, yeah, so I put this in. There's like new designer, new product manager. Now what? Or what now? So this is what now. We like we have some really cool work that Milan and Isha have been doing that they're going to share out, and but part of that new getting a new designer and getting a new product manager is also working to getting some more dedicated engineering time for Octant, and that's going to be coming in kind of two. There'll be kind of two pieces to that. There'll be just some like carryover work as some of the internal work that our program does around developer enablement. Octant will get some shared resources out of that. People, not resources. We'll get some shared engineering effort from people out of that. And then we may be able to add another kind of dedicated engineering person to the Octant team. We're still trying to figure that out, but I think it'd be really great for us. We've been a little short-handed recently with like Brian transitioning over to do other work within VMware, and so we've lost some of his contributions, and so now it's just me, Sam, and Milan on the engineering side. So hopefully we can get some more help there, and that'll help the community at large and kind of drive us towards that 1.0 we've been talking about, which you can learn more about in our roadmap. So anyway, with that, Milan and Isha, do you all want to share kind of what you've been exploring with Resource Viewer?
Sure, I can start by sharing my screen. So give me 1 second. So before we dig into this, I just want to preface that this exploration, can everyone see my screen? Yeah, good, okay. I just want to preface that this is only a first pass of like what the resource viewer might look like. So these designs are not set in stone. It's more of an exploration to understand what are the open questions that we have. And we definitely want to get some feedback on this. So I'll be going through like the designs, what are some of the open questions that we have. And if you have feedback, definitely leave feedback in the Octant channel. Leave it here. You can ping me. I'm in the Kubernetes Slack channel. So right now, so we're looking to redesign the resource viewer. If anything, we think it needs some visual polish. We want to be able to surface a little bit more detail than what's shown now. We want to solve the problem of the resource viewer getting really, really wide and having these connections that are kind of hard to see because you can't really pan in or out. And it's just visually hard to comprehend when it gets really large. And also we want to explore what might it look like to pan in and out of the resource viewer, like have a really high level overview, and then be able to drill down deeper into like the specific information that you're looking for. And so Milan had actually started this exploration with Scott, who was another designer on the team. And this is the direction they were going in, where you can see the overall deployment. You can see the replica set and the pods and the adjacent services and resources. But the thing we want to think about is scale. So if there's multiple replica sets, multiple pods, they might not be able to be represented in this model over here. And so we did a little bit more exploration about how we might format that. And thinking about if you go into the resource viewer and you want to glance at where are the errors or where is the error out, you'll be able to see that with some status updates. You'll be able to navigate to the deployment, look at the replica set. And with this model, you can more easily see the connections and relationships between the adjacent resources. But we also looked at what if we were able to keep that hierarchy model that the resource viewer has now, but still be able to make it easier to navigate to some of those relationships and view what is errored out, and go deeper for troubleshooting. And like I mentioned before, we also wanted to think about panning in or out. So for example, say this is your view of the resource viewer. Maybe it starts with this. Maybe it starts with the statuses and the coloring that tells you whether or not there's an error. and you can pan in and see more details about the replica set. Again, there's the issue of scale with pods. So right now, this is how you can view the pods, but what if there was more information explicitly about the pods? Or what if there's an easier way to drill down? So we looked at what if you could go into the deployment replica set, see how many pods there are, and drill down from there. So one way of doing this might be repurposing the sidebar. So you can see the replica set, you can click it, and then you can see the pods, which ones are aired out. Maybe there's a high level know about what's going on with the pod, and you can click it and go to the specific page for that pod. Or maybe that information is accessed through this flyout where all the pods are listed, and then you could also click it, and maybe there's a flyout that gives you that information. Maybe it takes you to the specific details page. Or maybe we don't even start with the replica set and the deployment, we just start with the deployment, and then you can drill down to the replica set and you can drill down to the pods. So that's another way of looking at it. And one thing to note is for now, we're focusing on this specific hierarchy of deployment, pods, and then the adjacent resources such as services, secrets, service accounts. But there might be other types of information that we would have to retrofit into this model. So for example, here, if you looked at this specific resource, KPAC controller admin, there's not really much information or hierarchy. So we'd have to think about how might we use the framework that we're using right now to show deployment, replica sets, and pods and apply that to different types of information. But right now, for the MVP and for the sake of exploration, we've just narrowed down to this specific set of information. And then another thing we want to think about is, where does this view start? So right now, when you want to go into the resource viewer, you can go into deployments or whatever, you click on the resource, and then you're in the resource viewer for that specific resource. But what if we zoomed it a level back and maybe you click namespaces overview, and instead of just this list over here that you see and you scroll down to, you get an overview of all those deployments that you see on the page. And maybe you can use this to drill down further if you know what you're looking for, or maybe you're just checking the health of some of your deployments. And to take that a step back, what if there was a high-level overview of the entire cluster? And so you get pretty much a map of the world for that specific cluster, and you can drill down from there. So we're thinking about, where do we start with this? It's a matter of like, what are user behaviors around drilling down? Like, do they come to the dashboard and find just to check if there are errors, or do they know there's a specific error and they navigate towards that error? And it's also a matter of scope, what we're able to bite off. This is probably like the ideal, but we might want to start with just reimagining what it looks like at this level. Milan, do you have any comments or anything to add?
No, this is perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. This is really good to see, you know, that we are approaching this a little differently than with a little more upfront design and a little more balanced approach. So I really like that and hope that it will get to the really good solution. This is a really hard problem, and this is probably the only way to get to the solution that's going to work better than the current one. So that, yeah, it's an exciting new beginning in a sense.
Yeah, I think these look awesome. I really like the idea of kind of being able to drill down into these things, and like each layer uncovers more detail. I think that's really important, especially for like, because in the success case, most of the time you don't care about those details, right? You just care that everything is successful. And so, but even in the success case, still being able to get to them in the case that you do is really nice. And then I really like that when you were talking about where does the view start, the idea that was kind of surfaced in that overview of everything, that to me is like the kind of new, like we have that applications view, which shows like the donut chart and like how things are shaping up for the namespace. And I could see this view kind of being the new applications view, where it incorporates some metrics and incorporates just the what we determine to be like the application or the workload, and we create this like overall idea of healthy workloads and or non-healthy ones, and expose them. And then right from, I don't know, in my head I just imagine this, like right in here you're able to just like start to zoom in on one of those and like get the fidelity of the other views without having, you don't have to go somewhere else. You just, just like that kind of like in Figma, where you start to zoom in, and as you zoom in, things change, and you get a new render and it shows you the different things. Like the idea that we could do something like that is really exciting to me, and just like instantly access that level of detail from an overview without clicks, without like context switching. You're like, oh, I landed on this thing, my deployment's not looking good, let me zoom in or select it and get the new, and just like you just start diving in right from there. I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And the content, the way the boxes look might be a little different too, right? We may indicate in some way that this is maybe an abstract group, like deployment together with some things. Maybe those can be circles or some other symbols. As I think the paradigm I like to use is a map. Figma is a good one too, but when you zoom in the map or Figma, you start seeing more details, and when you zoom out, those things may look differently. You definitely don't see every single street or every single item. You just see the contours or maybe the very important things. So yeah, I think if you can make that would be awesome, I feel.
Yeah. I think, there's some open questions though that I have before we move forward. And I'll post this in the Slack channel as well. But one is like, what information do users actually want to see up front? Like right now we're hypothesizing that this is the information we want to surface, like deployment pods, deployment replica sets, pods, and those adjacent services and secrets. But would there be something more useful that you would rather see when you open the resource viewer, or when you come to not the dashboard page, but the page that lists the status of all your like resources and objects? So that's one, what information do you want to see? Number two is, do we want to preserve this like hierarchical view that gets like wider and wider? Or do we want to have a better view of like all the relationships in one screen? What would be more helpful? What would you lose if we were to break the hierarchical view? And then are you using the resource, would you be using the resource viewer more for observability? Like, oh, let me come in here and check the status of something, versus like, I know something is wrong and I know that like, I just want to find that specific thing that's wrong. Because that might give us more information of like how much information to display, what information to display as well.
Yeah, I think that's an important point you made about being able to ensure that though it works really well for this scenario we're focusing on, that it works well for a wide range of resources, because one of the big uses of the resource viewer right now is you install a new CRD into your cluster, you deploy some of those new custom resources. What are those things? How do they look in the cluster? What are they connected to? What's using them? That tree that can be very big. Like that graph can be quite large. And so being able to ensure that on the engineering side, we architect it in a way that it is configurable and that we can create those relationships, maybe not even directly through like owner refs, but through labels or annotations or however we end up deciding on it. But ensuring that when people deploy things into Kubernetes, there is a way for us to visually represent not only the hierarchy, but the relationships. Like it's important that we do both. That is I think that's what makes this problem so hard, and
Mhm.
also why it's so powerful when
Mhm.
it's executed well.
Mhm.
One of the examples that Milan and I worked on when we took a pass at doing this was the custom resource for what was it? Was it TKG or it was one of the I think it was maybe it was VMware's SaaS offering, but there was, I don't recall exactly how many objects were in there, but it was a combination of maybe
About 50.
Yeah, I was going to say it was like 8 or 9 different custom resources, and then like 50 relationships within that one thing. And so yeah, scale is definitely something we'll run up against as well, because in compare, like that was relatively small scale. We were just using a small test bed instance of it, but these things can really fan out quite wide. So that's also something we'll want to think about in the design, is how to capture those really large scale things. And again, I think it comes down to like drilling in.
Yeah, I think there is a that diagram on the right side. If you can scroll there, I think the idea, yeah, see the frame 19. So the idea there is, I mean, there's obviously clustering, and actually I went through one of those diagrams that had like 50 or 60 elements, and I was able to divide it in like 8 groups. There were quite a few connections between them still, but if you do it that way, you know, if you can do the clustering like that, you can replace that hairy chart at the top, that hairy graph at the top with like maybe, you know, 8 to 9 boxes that you can then drill in. So
yeah, and also there's different ways of showing like the hierarchy. Like for example, this
right.
We can show hierarchy through size, and maybe this is the replica set. And then if you want to see pods, you go to a different page, or maybe like the view changes where it's like you click pods and now it actually shows those 50 pods. So yeah, just want to iterate, this isn't set in stone with these boxes. There's so many other ways to do this. But yeah, collecting those use cases, like you mentioned, Wayne, like this is the scale that we could see, or like those specific numbers, like these many replica sets, these many pods, or whatever types of information, like that would be helpful to stretch test how far these designs can go, and like what the shape and form should be.
Yeah, I think I can find some really good examples out in the wild, just around like serverless and some other CI/CD resources and things like that. That would be helpful in shaping like the direction of this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, this is awesome.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying again, this is awesome. This is super excited to see this work.
Yeah, absolutely agree. The other thing we should not forget is how we're gonna expose this through the plugin API, because we still have to provide plugin authors ability to modify the chart, to add their own stuff. So while we do this, that should be pretty close to top of our concerns, how the extensibility and how we can allow the users to configure it the best for their needs.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Milan, because it's like we don't want to make the view so opinionated that it's like hard to add anything else. It should still be flexible enough for users to build upon it. Cool.
Any last questions, comments before we move on? All right. So moving on to the next item in the agenda, KubeCon is on right now. Octant as a project doesn't have any big, like, you know, make a big splash for this KubeCon. Probably the next one, but not this one. We do have an AMA happening on the 19th. So that's tomorrow. That is from 4 to 4:45 Eastern time. So you can find that a link right from our notes here, the community meeting notes. We've also shared it in our Slack channel, but we'll share it again tomorrow before the event. We'll tweet out about it as well. But we encourage folks to stop by and ask any questions. If you're on this meeting, you probably already have asked them, but otherwise it's there. That's kind of all I have to say about it. And I also wanted to just call out quickly time off. So there'll be no community meeting next week. I think everyone on the Octant team is either off for most of or all of next week. So just keep that in mind. We'll not have one next week. And there will be just some general, like, more time off throughout the end of this year, as most of all of our all of the current core Octant team is US based. So we will likely have some holiday time and PTO time, in and out of November and December. So just kind of putting that out there. So if responses are a little slower or things seem like they're moving a little slower, apologize in advance, but it's just people kind of taking a break. But I'll be around and doing upstream stuff in like on issues and triaging and things like that, but probably not as active in the Slack channels. And we'll still have community meetings, but there just won't be one next week since literally everyone's gone next week. And open Q&A is what's next. If anyone has anything there. I didn't add it, but I wanted to show something. So I'd been working on, well, before I move on, does anyone have any open Q&A questions? All right. So what I'm going to do is I have a build of Octant that I've been working on trying to speed up. And now this might not come over well over the stream and the Zoom, but I do think I think it will. I think it'll be pretty immediate. You'll see the difference. So I'm going to stop sharing and explain what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch an instance of Octant as we currently have it built out, and then I will pull up the browser to that instance of Octant, and people can see how painfully slow it is to load. And that's my opinion, but it's true. It is painfully slow to load. So let me share my screen. Share. Okay, so Octant is running. This is my first time going to it. You can see it's spinning. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, that's horrible. I do not like this. So this is the thing that I hate most in Octant. Okay, so there it is. That is that took an extremely long time. So now I'm going to stop Octant. I'm going to start a new instance of Octant that has my speed up changes in it. And then I'm going to load it. So, okay, so this is the new instance of Octant with my speed up. Much better.
Wow.
So I'm pretty excited about that. That is, like, even without actually doing any real benchmarking, just visually, it happens so much faster. I'm still working through the tests and still working through like the just general refactoring of it, but that will be part of 0.17, which will be the first Electron release. So anyway, I just wanted to preview that and show it. There'll be an Octant speed up branch that will be coming. It's all around access control and has access and the problems there and the hundreds of access checks that Octant currently does versus other methods of checking access and failing. So I'll probably do a technical deep dive on the actual code changes, maybe in the first community meeting in December on, oh, maybe not. December 2nd is my birthday, and I'm pretty sure I have that off. But I might still do the community meeting because I'm really excited about showing this. So we'll see. But anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to show real quick. Was like a very short demo of how much faster it is.
Yeah, that's so exciting. That startup time is just killer right now.
Yeah, it really
can
is.
fix that. That would be awesome.
And this, you know, just to like it, this is a speed up anytime you're like switching clusters as well. Like it's the startup time, it's cluster switching time, it's namespace switching. Anything we do that causes a reload of the entire window is sped up by this set of changes. All right. Well, that's all I got. Anything else before we go? Anything? Okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Looking forward to getting more involved as I ramp up.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye.